Let's take a look at the best players being relegated from each Premier League season for the past 14 years. 2004, Alan Smith. Yes, the Leeds United side of 03-04 had basically been pulverised by the Premier League vultures before this season, leaving the former Champions League semi-finalists clinging onto their final few stars by a thread, which means that quite a few top quality players sank through the trapdoor when they were relegated. None stayed. Well, does Gary Kelly count as a star? Smith was the big hope back then. He'd fired 9 goals for the Lily Whites that season and was earning international call-ups, and then he went to Man United, was played in midfield, tried to block John Arne Riis's free kick, and nearly had his leg amputated as a result. 2005, Peter Crouch. Speaking of players who were sentenced to lengthy periods in the treatment room, I was so close to choosing Dean Ashton for 2005, having scored 7 in 16 games for Norwich after a mid-season move from Crewe Alexander. But then the man did have to retire at the age of 26, while Peter Crouch, relegated with Southampton, has proven that he's not just a
big lanky goggle-eyed freak.
Sorry Peter, bit harsh. Bagging 106 Premier League goals. That is more than Didier Drogba, Matt HITC and Harry Kane. You would expect Kane to pass him out in about 3 weeks though. 2006, Jermaine Pennant. I'm gonna be honest, the 3 teams who went down during the 05-06 season did not have a lot of great talent between them, and especially Sunderland. Come on now, Anthony Letalic and Justin Hoyt. We'll go for Birmingham City's Jermaine Pennant though, who was already onto his second relegation and first jail sentence at the age of 23. Yes, Pennant's career pretty much went off the rails, probably around the time he moved to Spain and forgot he left his Porsche parked illegally for about 6 months. The man with sports cars seemingly falling out of his pockets did have a brief purple patch at Liverpool though, and even played in a Champions League final against AC Milan, where he no doubt struck the fear of God into 5-time European champion Paolo Maldini. Remind me why I've chosen Pennant again. 2007, Phil Jagielka. A tough choice. Do I go with Charlton's Darren Bent, who has also scored over 100 Premier League goals, or do I go with Sheffield United's Phil Jagielka, capped 40 times for his country and went on to play over 300 times for Everton? Considering one is still in the Premier League while the other is playing in front of 6,000 fans every fortnight, we'll go with the former Blades captain. Although how close did we come to being able to include Carlos Tevez? 2008, Kevin Doyle. This was the year Derby County got relegated. Remember the side who would have probably lost their own youth team? So the standard wasn't particularly high that year. Reading and Birmingham also went down, and arguably one of the most dramatic last day relegation scraps of all time. We'll go with Kevin Doyle, a man who's recently retired after heading the ball too many times, but who did score 56 goals for Reading, 33 for Wolves, and even found himself at the centre of a tug of war between Arsenal and Juventus. You might laugh at that, but 2009, Stuart Downing. 2009 was the year where a host of big name talent went down. Players who cost record fees, players who played in World Cups, players who would go on to play for massive clubs, players who played for Real Madrid and yet treated their next club as nothing but an ATM for 4 years. We'll steer clear of that poisonous Newcastle side though and plump for Stuart Downing. Yeah, it might be a strange choice, but back then Downing was actually regarded as one of the most exciting wingers in England. Sure, he didn't find the back of the net once that season, but he's still impressed enough to earn himself a £10 million move to Aston Villa and then a £20 million transfer to Anfield. With 35 caps to his name, Downing was a damn good player on his day. 2010, Kevin Prince Boateng. There's something not quite right about the fact that Kevin Prince Boateng walked straight from relegation to the Championship with Portsmouth in 2010 to the San Siro and Champions League football with AC Milan. Strange, but the former Pompey man went on to spend 5 seasons with the Italians and came within a Luis Suarez handball away from a World Cup semi-final the following summer. 2011, Demba Ba. No Charlie, you don't make it into this list. We'll go with Demba Ba, a name that probably triggers PTSD nightmares for Liverpool fans. He arrived mid-season at Upton Park after failing a medical at Stoke, scored 7 goals in 10 before jumping ship to Newcastle, where he netted 29 across 2 seasons, before going on to spoil the Steven Gerrard party in April 2014. 2012, Steven Nzonzi. Steven Nzonzi is arguably one of the most confident midfielders in Europe at the moment, but the Sevilla man does have a relegation blotch on his CV. But then if you willingly play under Steve Keane, what do you expect? He went down in 2012 with Blackburn Rovers. 2013, James McCarthy. Loic Remy almost made the cut, but I'll go for James McCarthy. The guy's got to catch a break at some point, or a different kind of break at least. Back in 2013, McCarthy was getting linked with Man United after helping Wigan to FA Cup glory, just ignore the relegation to the Championship. Since a £13 million move to Goodison Park, he's blown hot and cold, with injuries hampering his progress, but on his day, he's one of the best passers in the league. 2014, Wilfried Zaha. Yeah, bet you didn't think Wilfried Zaha had been relegated? Well, he has. Bet he didn't think the 13-14 season would end like that for him when he arrived at Old Trafford for pre-season. Farmed out on loan to South Wales. I think that was sufficiently far enough away from Moyes' daughter's flat, wasn't it? His stepovers couldn't stop Vincent Tan's mess at Cardiff City from sinking into the Championship. 2015, Charlie Austin. Okay, so Danny Ings is technically probably the better player, as evidenced by which club went on to sign them both, but we'll go for Charlie Austin purely because he's managed to stay injury-free compared to Ings, which, good lord, is saying something. He's been a prolific finisher his entire career, his goals to games ratio is top-notch. If it weren't for injuries, that man would have a cap, especially when Gareth Southgate is handing them out to Tammy Abraham and Dominic Solanke. 2016, Jorginho Wijnaldum. Not a popular figure on Tyneside, considering he didn't score a single goal away from home for the Magpies, but Jorginho Wijnaldum is still the second most expensive player in the club's history, top scorer that season with 11 strikes. There's a reason he has nearly 50 caps for Holland and currently plays Champions League football. 2017, Harry Maguire. Jordan Pickford was so close to making it in, but you can't look past Harry Maguire. Understated at Hull last season, eyebrows were raised when Leicester paid £18 million for him. Not anymore, the man is threatening to end Michael Keane's international career before it's even begun, although to be fair, I think he's doing a good job of managing that one all by himself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.